Milk. Does it do your body good? Today, we look at a pioneer in the nutrition field, Dr. Colin Campbell, and the evidence he presents for limiting or eliminating the amount of milk you drink. Just a reminder, we are not healthcare professionals.
Right, exactly. We're just looking at the research here.
Yeah. Okay, let's unpack this. Our mission in this deep dive into the China study is figuring out why choosing skim milk over whole milk, well, it might not actually be the health loophole you think it is.
Yeah, it's a huge misconception.
Yeah.
Because when people try to make their dairy intake, like, quote-unquote, healthier, they almost always just focus on stripping out the fat.
Right, grabbing the skim milk.
Exactly. But Dr. Campbell's primary concern, it wasn't the milk fat at all. His focus was actually the protein, specifically this one called casein, which makes up about 80% of the total protein in cow's milk.
Wait, so if you take the fat out of the milk, you're just leaving that casein totally intact?
Yeah, and not just intact.
It actually concentrates the protein by volume, right? So if casein is the biological culprit here, skim milk is just delivering a much denser dose of it to you.
That's exactly it. And Campbell tested this really extensively in his lab experiments with rats. He exposed them to aflatoxin, which is a known carcinogen that causes liver cancer.
Okay, so they already had the cancer trigger.
Right. And when those rats were fed a diet where 20% of their intake came from casein, their cancerous liver tumors grew incredibly rapidly. But then, when they dropped that casein intake down to just 5%, the tumor growth completely stopped.
Oh, wow. It just stopped.
Stopped, and it actually even regressed in some cases.
I was looking at his lab results, and I mean, the contrast is wild. It's like casein acts as a biological dimmer switch for cancer in these rats. You turn the dial up to 20%, the cancer lights turn on.
Yeah.
You dial it down to 5%, they turn off. But I assume this wasn't just some generic protein response, right? Like, what if you used plant protein?
The results were completely different. When they swapped out the casein for plant proteins, like soy or wheat, those plant proteins did not accelerate the tumor growth at all.
Even at the high amount?
Even at the 20% level.
Okay, so to keep that house analogy going, the plant protein is like a harmless, broken dimmer switch. Like, no matter how much you turn it up, it just can't turn those cancer lights on.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, but rats getting pumped with pure, isolated casein in a lab is one thing. Do we actually see this cancer dimmer switch happening in humans who just drink a lot of milk?
Well, to see if that mechanism applies to humans, we have to look at the China-Cornell-Oxford project from the 1980s.
Which was a massive observational survey, right?
Huge. It focused on rural populations in China that consumed virtually zero dairy and very little animal protein overall, especially compared to Westerners.
So if Campbell's rat theory holds up, a population eating almost no dairy should have virtually zero rates of those diet-related cancers.
And the data reflected exactly that. The so-called diseases of affluence, heart disease, breast cancer, prostate, and colorectal cancer, they were incredibly rare in these regions.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, the data showed that even minor increases in animal protein consumption correlated with higher blood cholesterol and elevated risks for those chronic conditions.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. We are taught from a young age to drink milk for strong bones.
Oh, absolutely. Drink your milk.
Right. It feels incredibly counterintuitive to skip it.
It does, but Campbell proposed a mechanism that challenges that entirely. He argued that a high intake of animal protein causes metabolic acidosis.
Meaning what, exactly?
Essentially, as the protein breaks down, it tips your blood chemistry slightly into the acidic red zone.
Oh, I see. And to pull it back to neutral, your body needs a buffer. Wait, does it act like a scavenger and literally mine the calcium out of your own skeleton? Like a biological antacid?
That is his exact theory. He used this mechanism to explain why countries with the highest dairy consumption often actually have the highest rates of hip fractures.
That is completely wild.
It really is. And on top of that, cow's milk naturally stimulates growth factor hormones, like IGF-1. I mean, think about it. Cow's milk is biologically engineered to turn a tiny calf into a massive cow in a matter of months.
Right. In a calf, that hormone signals to grow fast. But in a full-grown human adult, signaling your cells to grow and divide rapidly sounds exactly like the mechanism for how tumors accelerate.
Exactly. It's a highly concentrated growth signal.
So what does this all mean? I have to play devil's advocate here. Campbell feeding rats 20% pure, isolated casein in a lab is definitely not the same as me eating a slice of cheddar cheese with an apple.
No, it's not.
Does this observational data actually prove milk causes cancer in humans?
Well, mainstream nutritionists and statisticians ask that exact question. They point out that observational correlations, like seeing low cancer rates alongside low dairy intake in rural China, they do not definitively prove causation.
Because the way the human body processes whole foods is wildly complex.
Very complex, yeah.
Isolating a single variable like casein just doesn't map perfectly onto how we process a whole diet.
Right, and the scientific consensus often pushes back on the China study for this exact reason. A single isolated protein behaving one way in a rat just doesn't guarantee the same biological reaction from whole dairy in a complex human system.
But it certainly gives you a lot to think about. If a specific protein can act as a biological instruction manual for rapid cell growth, you have to wonder, what other everyday foods might be sending hidden messages to your cells right now? This is part of a series called Elton's Health Hacks. Please follow us on site, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube for the latest health tips. And the name of the series again is Elton's Health Hacks.